Hi, I'm Sultana Jones. I've been reading from a story that I've written called The Diary of Leeann Little. If you want to be able to be caught up, you have to go back a couple of videos and listen to listen to the beginning so you'll understand what's going on. I'm going to go ahead and take up from where I left off. Enjoy. Sarah Jean looked at me and asked, "What's it like to be free?" Just then, the air was filled with the sound of Mammy Jo crying out. Of course, Sarah Jean outran me. Two men come by. They was trying to take Big Joe away. They said he was a runaway. They was about to tie his hands with rope when Papa come out with a gun and said, "I said he's not a runaway. He goes where I send him. He ain't never run before." I ain't never seen Papa like this before. "We'll pay you a good price for this slave." Then Papa cocked the gun and said, "Cut the rope on me, Jamaica." They cut the rope and left. Big Joe fell to Papa's feet, saying, "Thank you, sir. Oh, thank you, sir." Then Papa just looked at Big Joe and walked into the house without a word. You see, Papa had slaves who worked on the plantation, but they was more like family than slaves. Unlike at Mr. McClay's plantation, if a slave tries to run, they beat him something awful. I remember one day when Mama and I went over for tea, and we heard some awful hollering coming from outside. Turns out they had caught a slave and had chopped off part of his foot. Mr. McClay said, "This nigger tried to run, but we caught him down by the manor woods." Heck, Sarah Jean and I would play near the manor woods. Mama took me back into the house. I overheard Mrs. McClay tell Mama that Mr. McClay just sold 4 of his slaves just to buy him a field horse. A field horse! And he's always offering Papa to buy Big Joe or one of the others. I think Mr. McClay sent them old man anyway. I just couldn't imagine Papa selling off Big Joe for some old field horse. Some nights, Big Joe and some of the others would get to playing the fiddle and start the dancing. And sometimes Papa and Mama would join in, talk about kicking in some dust. It was great. Unlike the dances Mama and Papa would sometimes hold in the great room. I loved the great room. I would sometimes sit by the big fireplace and imagine what it would be like to dance at a ball. Instead, I only got to watch from upstairs. Mama would dress in her finest gown. It was white with lace and little yellow roses all around it. Yellow was her favorite color. She would pull her hair up with curls everywhere. And I would hear Papa sing that she was the prettiest thing he'd ever seen. Carriage after carriage would pull up, and the finest of the finest would step out. I would watch from the top of the stairs. Everyone was busy that night, even Sarah Jean in the kitchen, who would sneak me some sweets when no one was looking. I was always glad when the last carriage would pull out. We could all breathe again. I never did answer Sarah Jean's question. Well, I'm tired now, so I'll write some more tomorrow. I know Papa will come for me soon. It's funny, sometimes I can hear angels sing. I closed the book for a moment, and I looked at my husband in disbelief over what we have just found. And then I opened it again, eager to read what was next. I just got finished with my breakfast of dry beef and cheese and bread. Papa said I should eat a little at a time so the food would last. Miss Polly Mann and me, that's my bestest doll. I have another, but she ain't got no hair on account I sat her too close to the fireplace one night. And there she was, just a blazing away. I never seen Mama move so fast. I sat there with big old tears in my eyes, and Papa just looked at me and didn't say a word. Then one day, Papa come home with Miss Polly May. She was the prettiest doll I ever seen, and she had corn silk hair like Mama's and a white dress with lace on the bottom. I threw my arms around Papa and I said, "Oh, thank you, Papa. I promise I never get her too close to the fireplace." Papa just patted my head and went back to the reading room. So, every day, Miss Polly May and I would eat breakfast together. I can smell the cooking right about now. Mammy Jo could make the best biscuits. They would be just dripping with butter and piled high on the plate in the middle of the table, next to the ham and eggs. Papa would say, "Mammy Jo, you outdid yourself today." And Mammy Jo would just laugh and go into the kitchen. Well, we were sitting at the table when a knock came at the door. Big Joe answered. It was Mr. McClay, who looked upset about something. "Excuse me, ma'am, Miss Leeann." Papa stood up. "What's on your mind, McClay?" "There's trouble brewing. Talk about war starting down here. The men are meeting at the townhouse, at the Townsend house." Papa got up, got his hat and left. They both rode off really fast. Later that night, I heard Mama and Papa talking. Well, sometimes if I listen real good, I can hear. See, in my room is right across the way. Oh, Mammy Jo sleeps in the little room next to mine on account if I needed something. She got me dressed and all. Anyway, Papa told Mama the North was threatening war. Papa did say that nothing was for sure now, and don't worry none about a thing. Then I heard Mama say to Papa, "It's a good thing seeing that you gonna be a papa again." I just heard Papa laugh and laugh. I laughed too. Well, I did it again. I ran over. So I'll read a little bit more of the Diary of Leeann Little by Sultana Jones. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.